VIP TV. Delighted to have WBO mandatory contender Jack Catterall, a man who's been waiting very, very patiently for a world title tilt that's long overdue. Great to have you on, Jack, and congratulations on being a dad for the first time. How's that going?
Yeah, nice one, Steve. Yep, all good, thank you. Baby's 2 weeks old, just over 2 weeks. She's had a little week off the gym, but I'm back in now. She's getting into a routine. They're both doing good, so just feeling very blessed at the moment. Really getting to spend all this time at home with my girlfriend and the baby. It's a blessing.
Yeah, look, it's especially that them early days is when you're doing all the bonding. It's a blessing, but on the flip side of that, you'd rather be. You'd also love to be in the gym getting ready for something massive, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you know what it is. Even throughout all last year and this year before the baby was born, I've been training. I've not been out of the gym for longer than a week or two. So wow. I've always made sure that I've been in the gym. Certainly last year, a lot of fighters were getting calls with 2-3 weeks notice, and I didn't want to miss out on any opportunities because I was that far away from being ready. So I managed to fight in November. Again, it paid dividends being in the gym. I think I got 6 weeks notice for that one, so I was well ahead of myself. And I kind of got to be in the same position this year. I know I've got the world title shot coming up, but there's a potential to fight before then. It looks like Taylor Ramirez possibly in May, end of May. So I guess by the time I get my shot, it could be September, October.
Yeah.
So ideally, it's not ideal going into that fight again with a big stint out the ring. So do my own work, making sure I'm ready to potentially get a fight in before them and keep that momentum going forward.
Yeah, it's going to be important, isn't it? To not, look, it's not the be all and end all, but it must be important to get another 10 rounds in or a 10 rounder of some sort in before that. Given that they're going to go and have a really hard fight in May, have a month off and be back in the gym, still sharp from the last fight in some aspects.
Of course, we can do all the training, but there's nothing like putting the little gloves on and having a fight, getting that camp under your belt, making the weight, performing. So, it's not the be all and end all, but in an ideal world, I'd like a nice 10-round fight before then, ideally the same time as them two are fighting. Then it just puts me that one step forward, ready for the big fight.
Any chance you could jump on the undercard there just to sell yourself a bit? Because, the fight could well go ahead in America. If it's Ramirez, I guess it may well be over there.
Yeah, I'm hearing rumours it's going to be Vegas, end of May. Obviously, nothing's confirmed, but in an ideal world, I'd love to be on the undercard. Get me on the undercard. Let's sell the fight. We'll just have to wait and see. I'm confident in my management team, and Frank Warren will come to the right decision, and all being well, we'll get one in before the world title shot.
So how hard was it for you last year, only having like a lot of boxers, though people see you're number one in the world and people just see, their boxers are all right, they're earning fortunes. But how do you get by for a year when you was out in November? I think that was your first fight for 12 months. How do you survive financially? Especially when you got a baby and you're most probably spending money on a house or something, so it's right for your baby. How hard is it for you?
Yeah, it's been difficult, but at the same time, you've got to be sensible. So last year, we bought a house last year in February, and then my girlfriend got pregnant, we got a baby. So, there's been days where I'm lucky enough, I've got friends, a lot of friends in Chorley and surrounding areas, and I can pick up the odd day's work. But
that's good.
I think I've been in the gym, I've been sensible with my money, and I'm not living a flashy lifestyle. All I need to do is go to the gym. As long as I've got food in the cupboards and I can get to the gym, I'm quite content with that. But hopefully now the restrictions are being lifted, we can get fans back. Hopefully in the next 12, 18 months, we can get more than 1 or 2 fights in.
Yeah, well, you deserve it. And you know what? I think I only had a quick check, so someone might come on Twitter and correct me when I see this. I think after Billy Joe Saunders, you've got the best 100% record in British boxing. Did you know that now?
Happy days. No, I didn't know that.
I think because Tyson Fury's had a draw, Billy Joe's 30-0, and you're 26-0. So it's a nice record to have.
I need to add them world titles to the list first, and then I'll be content.
Yeah. And how do you think that fight go? You know, when you think of who you might be facing the end of the year, Ramirez or Taylor, who do you think it might be?
I'm tipping towards Taylor. Initially, before the situation where I agreed to step aside, I'd been focusing on Ramirez after his win against, was it Victor Postel? Or was it Hooker? I don't know. I've been watching him for some time now, but I've studied them both, and I'm swaying towards a Taylor win. You never know what's going to happen in the fight. I could be totally wrong. Be confident in beating both of them. I think Taylor makes for a better fight with me. Two southpaws, both British. It's a big fight over here.
England, Scotland as well. There's always that.
Scotland. I mean, that would be the dream fight. But if it goes the other way against Ramirez, I'd be happy to go over to America and do the job over there.
Yeah, obviously, you fight. They've got all. You'll be fighting for all the belts, and with that comes rewards. Would it worry you that what if one of them won, particularly Taylor, given his size, they suddenly jump to welterweight, and suddenly you're fighting another opponent for the world title? Does that run through your mind at all? I mean, I don't want to sound negative, and
no, of course,
but it's just something Taylor. I think Taylor's even mentioned before.
Yeah, it was something that we're concerned about in the process of agreeing to step aside. I mean, yeah, they could all say I'll fight Jack next, and then who's to say they can't make the weight? They go up, I get the vacant title. Although it'd be a blessing to fight for the world title, it's not kind of the same feeling of fighting for all the belts against the unified champion. But I was told to rest assured off my management company, and with a Taylor win, this gives me more confidence because we're under the same umbrella. We've got the same promoters, same managers, and I've been told to rest assured that fight will happen. And I sent a tweet out when they agreed to step aside, and Taylor responded saying, look, he's a man of his word, and let's get it on. He'll take care of business with Ramirez. So I wish him all the best for that, and then hopefully he can bring them home and I can have a crack at them and bring them back to England.
Yeah. Just someone to ask you, when you was in America, where I think was you in the States in the Mayweather Jr when Jamie Cox went over?
I was, yeah.
Did you go to the Canelo camp with him at all?
Yeah, sparred Canelo. We did.
Oh, tell us. Just asking you about that. What that given that he's in action this weekend. What's that camp like with Canelo?
Phenomenal. 2 weeks I spent in San Diego on my own, and it was like a master's degree in 2 weeks. Monday, Wednesday, Friday for 2 weeks. We went up to his house, which is where his gym is, and I sparred 4 4-minute rounds. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. He had 2 or 3 sparring partners, but just being around him and watching him work before and after the sparring, phenomenal. And not only that, before we went to sparring, we'd done, I think it was 6 weeks sparring Mayweather, and that were quite full on. But then when we went to spar Canelo, it was a better environment, more relaxed. There was only 2 or 3 people in the gym, and I really managed to just absorb it all and watch and learn. For me, at such a young age as well, we're going back, God, about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Still to this day, I've got pictures on my phone, and I think, no, we're in such a great position at that age to be able to go and spar in and help him prepare. And what gave me a lot of confidence was not only after the first couple of spars, he could have sent me home, he could have sparred anybody, but they agreed to keep me over and use my southpaw stuff to help him with his fight with James Kirkland.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? When you think also, you talk of 5 years ago, the improvements you've made, and you think the improvement he's made, particularly since that Mayweather fight. Because if you look at the Mayweather fight, I know he was only 22, 23, but in the second half of that fight, he was mentally broken. He didn't want to be even in Las Vegas that second half of that fight. The way he's come back says so much for him, doesn't it?
Of course, it's phenomenal to think, like you just said, then how old was he? 22?
20,
and the level that he's gone on to produce and just kept pushing and pushing. It just shows it can be done.
Yeah.
You've got to take, I watch his videos online, and he's a true athlete. Even after the fights, he's straight back in the gym, whether it's just working on single punches and just watching his all-round work schedule ethic. It's brilliant.
Yeah. What's it like doing 4-minute rounds? Then you're in there with him for 4 minutes, or was you used more for technical stuff,
Yeah, so when I was sparring him, he would do 4 4s with a bigger fella, i.e. Jamie Cox, and There was a fighter, Dennis Duglin, who I think boxed.
George Groves, did he?
George Groves. Did he box Eubank as well?
Did he? It rings a bell been over him. I think Groves with Duglin. He's the guy that has his mum in the corner. Yeah,
that's the one. Yeah, so we were kept in the same apartments. He would bang it out with the big guys for 4-4-minute rounds, and then the second 4. And this was 2-3 weeks before his fight, so you can imagine his weight's coming down. So it fitted him well, sparring the big guys, and then the second half of the spar, using me, smaller guy, to work on his speed and his defense and his head movement. It was phenomenal. But I look back at the pictures. I've got some pictures with him after the spar, and I didn't manage to get any with Floyd, but I think, no way, we look the same size, but being in the ring with him, it felt like he was 10 weights above me. It was mental.
Yeah, well, I remember talking to Matthew, because I went out there when Matthew Hatton fought him. And Matthew Hatton, he said, the thing is, the strength, you just can't prepare for someone that strong. He said, he could not believe what was coming at him. Because it wasn't like, knockout power, but just pure brute strength was coming at you.
And I had a lot of respect for him, because in the spars, I did feel like at any moment he could turn it on, and he could probably, I'm not daft, he probably could have got me out of there, but
he's bigger at the same time,
yeah, he was a lot bigger than me, but I thought, I got a lot of respect for him, because he kept us in there, and he used me for what he needed for that fight. And after the spars, they would put food on, and he was well looked after. It was nice, although we didn't speak a word of English.
You know what? That's why he is where he is today, because he'd have you in that gym for the technical stuff. You was obviously very good at that. So he's not going to take liberties. You're there to do that job. So he's not going to.
Yeah, and you've got to respect that. I mean, you can go to a lot of gyms. You see the doghouse videos from the Mayweather gym. I mean, there's no holding back in that gym. I remember sparring Floyd. And if you had any success, there would be no time. I think one of the days we did a 9-minute round, and it felt like a lifetime. And I thought, but then the second you throw a few punches and maybe 1 or 2 connect, the time got cut, and I thought, you know what, it's a bit, but I guess you're in his gym, it's his rules.
So finally, Canelo this weekend, we're sure he'll get through his mandatory, and it's brilliant. What's brilliant is to see him suddenly becoming a busy world champion, fighting 4 times in a year. You become a world champion. Do you want to be one of them busy guys who fights 4 times a year and just amasses loads of money, or are you going to be one of these guys who fights once a year, twice a year?
No, I've done my fighting once a year, last year and the year before. I'm ready to be busy. I've been training. Hopefully get one before the world title. Get the world title, and I think the more active I am, the better you're going to see me.
Jack, thanks very much for giving us your time tonight. I'll let you get back to your lovely young family there and carry on. I hope the sleepless nights, if you're getting them, they stop soon. And if not, I hope your missus is waking you up in the middle of the night to tell you to go and do your feed.
That's the one. That's the one. Thank you, Steve. Always a pleasure.
Thank you. You take care, my friend.
You take care, Steve. See you soon.
Oh, mate.
For all boxing info, news, and latest interviews, amateur and pro, across the north, click and subscribe. VIP Boxing Promotions. Also, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.